I stretched my arms across the sunlit living room and grinned at Lena, who was scrolling on her phone. Morning, beautiful. Coffee? She looked up, her lips curling into a smile. You know me too well. Make it strong, like last time. Strong enough to wake the dead, I said, moving to the kitchen. You'll need it for our little brunch date later. She chuckled, tossing me a playful glare. Brunch? You're obsessed with making me happy, aren't you? Maybe, I admitted, pouring the coffee. But I like seeing you smile. Makes all the stress at work disappear. Lena's fingers paused mid-scroll. You really love me, don't you? I leaned against the counter, coffee mug in hand. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You're my world. She set her phone down and walked over, resting her hand lightly on mine. Sometimes I wonder if you'll ever get tired of me. Never. I shook my head, laughing. Even if you became impossible, I'd still choose you. Every time. Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second, a hesitation I barely noticed. I know. Sometimes I feel like I'm not enough. I frowned, tilting my head. Not enough? Lena, you're brilliant, beautiful, and you make every day better. Don't ever doubt that. She leaned in, brushing her lips against mine briefly. You're sweet. Maybe too sweet. Sam always says you spoil me. I laughed. Sam doesn't get it. You deserve it. Besides, a little spoiling never hurt anyone. The phone buzzed. Lena glanced at it, frowning. Work. Just a quick email. Don't wait up. I nodded, trying to ignore the flicker of concern in my chest. Okay, I'll be here when you're done. Coffee stays hot. She smiled faintly and disappeared into the bedroom. I sipped my coffee, thinking about how perfect it all seemed. My job was going well, Lena and I were happy, and friends like Sam made life feel complete. Later, Sam called. Hey, Alex, got a minute? Always. What's up? I said, lowering the coffee cup. You seem distracted lately. Everything okay with Lena? I laughed lightly. Distracted? Not at all. Why? Just a feeling, Sam said. She seemed a bit off yesterday. Not that I know her, but, be careful. Sometimes love blinds us. I shrugged, brushing it off. I appreciate it, but Lena and we're solid. Trust me. All right, if you say so, Sam replied, the worry lingering in his voice. Just, keep your eyes open. I smiled, hanging up. I muttered to myself. I always am. Later that evening, Lena and I walked through the park, hand in hand. Remember our first date here? I asked, squeezing her hand. How could I forget, she said, laughter in her voice. You tripped over your own shoelaces. I laughed, shaking my head. And you didn't even laugh. You helped me up and smiled like it was the cutest thing you'd ever seen. She leaned into me, resting her head on my shoulder. You've always been a mess, Alex. And you've always been perfect, I whispered. Her phone buzzed again, and she glanced at it quickly, her smile fading slightly. Just work stuff, she said. I nodded, not wanting to ruin the moment. I took a deep breath, thinking about how lucky I was. Lena was my world, my friends were my anchor, and my life, it felt untouchable. I didn't see the small cracks, the fleeting glances at her phone, the tiny sighs, the secrets she kept hidden. I thought everything was perfect. I thought I knew it all. But sometimes, even the most perfect life hides storms beneath the surface. And I was about to learn that lesson the hard way. I wasn't supposed to be home early that afternoon. But something had pulled me back, an odd feeling I couldn't shake. As I walked up the hallway to our apartment, I heard voices. Lena's voice. And another. I can't believe he has no idea, I heard her whisper, breathless. What do you mean? The man replied, deep and unfamiliar. I froze mid-step, heart hammering. My hand lingered on the doorknob. I wasn't ready for this, but I couldn't turn away. I mean, Alex. He thinks we're fine. He trusts me completely, Lena said. The world narrowed down to her words. My stomach dropped. Trusts me completely. The man chuckled. You're going to break his heart. That's what you want, right? Her voice was soft, almost pleading. I didn't plan for it to go this far. But I can't stop now. I felt my knees weaken. Everything blurred. I spun the doorknob, and suddenly they were there, Lena, caught off guard, and a stranger holding her hand. Alex, she stammered. I barely recognized my own voice. Who is he? Her eyes widened, guilt flashing like lightning. It's not what you think. Not what I think. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. I hear everything. I've been blind. A fool. Lena, this is you. She stepped forward, voice trembling. It's complicated. I didn't mean to hurt you. Not mean to hurt me. I echoed, voice cracking. You're with him. Right here. Right now. How could you? The man stepped back, uncomfortable. Look, I don't want trouble. Just, leave her alone, okay? I looked at him, but all I saw was Lena. All I could feel was betrayal, raw and sharp. Leave her alone. You're not the one I trusted. She is. Tears welled up, unbidden, blurring my vision. Lena, how long? Her lips quivered. A few months. I swear, I never wanted you to find out like this. I laughed, but it was hollow. A few months. We shared our lives, our future. And you were lying every day. She tried to step closer. Please, Alex, Don't, I said sharply. Don't touch me. Don't speak. I swallowed hard. Just, stay away from me. I stumbled out, not looking back. My hands shook as I locked the door behind me. The city outside felt impossibly loud, but I couldn't hear it. I couldn't think. Every memory, the dinners, the late-night talks, the promises, weighed on me like stones. Later, Sam called. I let it ring, not ready to speak. Alex? You okay? I finally answered, voice low. No, Sam. I'm not. What happened? Talk to me. I let out a ragged breath. It's Lena. She's been, with someone else. Right in my apartment. There was a pause. Oh. Alex. I'm so sorry. Are you safe? Safe? I repeated bitterly. I don't feel safe in my own life anymore. Everything I thought was real, it wasn't. You're stronger than you think, Sam said softly. You'll get through this. Just, don't let it destroy you completely. I don't know if I can, I admitted, a tremor in my voice. I trusted her. I loved her. Anne. I feel so powerless. Powerless now, maybe, Sam said firmly. But not forever. You'll find your strength again. I know you will. I hung up, sitting on the park bench nearby, staring at nothing. I replayed everything, the tiny signs I ignored, the secretive texts, her sudden late nights, the fleeting unease that now seemed so obvious. How had I missed it all? Julia, a coworker from the office, passed by that evening. She stopped, hesitant. Alex, are you okay? I forced a laugh, bitter and dry. Yeah. Perfectly fine. Just, thinking. She studied me carefully. You don't seem fine. If you need to talk, you know where to find me. I nodded silently. Her concern felt like a distant echo, a reminder that the world continued while my heart was breaking. I walked aimlessly, every step heavy. Trust, I realized, was fragile. Life, it seemed, was nothing but a careful balance. One misplaced move, one hidden truth, could shatter everything. And Lena. Lena had shattered mine. I didn't know what to do next. Rage bubbled inside me, hot and consuming, but so did disbelief, sorrow, and a hollow emptiness I had never known. The streets blurred around me as I tried to breathe, to think, to understand how someone I loved so completely could betray me so thoroughly. Eventually, I sat on the curb, head in my hands, letting the tears fall. The city moved on, indifferent, while my perfect life lay in ruins. And I realized, with a cold clarity, that nothing would ever be the same again. I stared at the wrecked car under the dim lights of the garage, the front twisted like a broken promise. The metal still smelled of burnt oil and smoke. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, glancing at me. "You're really doing this?" he asked. "Yes," I said, my voice steady even though my chest was tight. "It's the only way she'll believe I'm gone." He exhaled slowly. "You know what this means, right? You'll disappear. No contact. No slip-ups." "That's the point," I muttered. "Lena destroyed my life. I want her to live with that. To feel what she made me feel, loss, regret, guilt." Ethan crossed his arms. "You could just walk away, Alex. Start over somewhere else." I shook my head. "She needs to see the cost of betrayal. I want her to stand at my funeral and cry, thinking she's free, while I'm alive, watching." He studied me in silence for a long time. "You sound different," he said finally. "Colder." "Maybe that's what's left," I replied. "When love dies, something else takes its place." Ethan looked at the car again. "So, what's the story?" "Accident on the highway," I said. "Car goes over the edge, explodes. Body too damaged to identify." He frowned. "You thought this through?" "I had time," I said quietly. Days of silence after she cheated. Nights I couldn't sleep. I planned every detail. Ethan sighed. "You'll need a witness. Someone who can confirm the crash before the authorities do." "I already have one," I said. "A truck driver friend. He'll make the call when it's time." He gave a low whistle. "You're terrifying when you get like this." "Maybe," I admitted, "but it's the only way I can breathe again." He handed me a folder. "Fake IDs, new address, bank setup. Once you vanish, you're Michael Reeves. Not Alex anymore." I stared at the name. Michael Reeves. Someone who didn't exist. Someone who could start over. "Feels strange," I murmured. "Like burying myself alive." "That's kind of what you're doing," Ethan said quietly. I forced a small smile. "Then let's make the burial convincing." 2 nights later, rain hammered the windshield as I drove along the cliffs. My heart pounded in rhythm with the thunder. The headlights cut through sheets of water. "Are you sure?" Ethan's voice crackled over the earpiece. "Positive," I said. "Once the car goes over, it's done." "Signal me when you're clear," he replied. I pressed down on the accelerator. The guardrail loomed ahead. I jumped out moments before the car veered right, tumbling down the slope. Seconds later, an explosion bloomed below, orange and violent. Heat licked the air. I watched in silence, drenched and trembling. Ethan arrived minutes later in his black truck. "You okay?" "I think so," I whispered. My clothes clung to me, heavy and soaked. "It's over." He looked at the burning wreckage below. You just killed Alex. Good, I said. He was too trusting to survive anyway. The next morning, I sat in an old motel room, staring at my reflection. The news on the TV showed the crash site. Local man, Alex Carter, presumed dead after tragic accident. My stomach twisted. Seeing my name next to the word dead felt unreal. Ethan called. It's done. The police confirmed. They found your ring in the wreck. I touched my bare finger, feeling an odd emptiness. She'll see it and believe. He paused. You should call your mom before they do. Just once. I hesitated, then dialed. Her sleepy voice came through, warm and unaware. Alex? It's late. Are you okay? I swallowed hard. Yeah, Mom. I just wanted to say I love you. She laughed softly. You sound tired. Promise me you'll rest. I will, I said, forcing steadiness into my tone. Just, take care of yourself, okay? She hesitated. You're scaring me. What's wrong? Nothing. I just needed to hear your voice. There was silence on the line. I love you too, sweetheart. When I hung up, I couldn't breathe. My eyes burned, but no tears came. Ethan texted, you okay? I typed back, no. But I will be. That evening, he brought takeout to the motel. She'll find out tomorrow, he said quietly. You really want to see it? Yes. He turned on his tablet, pulling up Lena's social feed. There she was, smiling in some old photo of us. Then the new post appeared. Rest in peace, Alex. I never got to say goodbye. Ethan glanced at me. She looks devastated. I watched the screen, my jaw tight. She looks like an actress reading her lines. Maybe, he said. Or maybe guilt finally hit her. I leaned back, whispering, either way, she'll live with it. Ethan studied me for a long moment. What now? I stared out the window, the rain still falling. Now, I learn how to live as someone else. I watch. I wait. And when the time is right. He nodded. You'll strike back. I looked down at my hands, still trembling, still human, and whispered, no. I'll rise. I stood at the edge of the cemetery, hidden behind a thick oak, watching through the drizzle as the small crowd gathered. Black suits, umbrellas, and quiet murmurs painted the scene of my own death. My chest tightened, but I didn't move. I wanted to see everything. Lena arrived last, her hair wet, makeup streaked from tears, a hand clutching a friend's arm. She didn't notice me, of course. Lena. I can't believe this, one of her friends whispered softly. He was perfect for you. How did it come to this? I don't know, Lena replied, voice cracking. I thought we were fine. I thought I could fix things. You cheated, another friend said bluntly. You did this to him. Her shoulders shook. I know. But I didn't expect this. I didn't expect it to end like this. I clenched my fists, a strange mix of satisfaction and sorrow bubbling inside me. This was real. She was feeling it, the guilt, the panic, the regret. I loved him, Lena whispered, so soft I barely caught it. I really loved him. And now he's gone, and I. Don't cry, her friend said gently, placing a hand on her back. It's too late for that. But maybe you can learn, maybe you'll understand what you lost. I swallowed. A cold satisfaction brushed against my heart, but beneath it, a hollow ache reminded me of everything I had lost too, our shared dreams, the nights I spent laughing with her, believing in us. Another murmured voice reached me. I can't believe Alex is gone. He was, always so kind, so full of life. It's shocking. Minor colleagues I had worked with whispered in the background. He was a brilliant mind. Always reliable. How could something like this happen? I heard my name with reverence and disbelief, and I couldn't stop the bitter smile curling my lips. They thought I was dead. They mourned me. And they didn't know I was alive. Lena's hands were trembling now, gripping her friend's arm tightly. I don't know if I can live with this guilt, she admitted, sobbing. I betrayed him, and now he's gone forever. You'll have to, one friend said, firm but gentle. We all make mistakes. Some mistakes, they cost us everything. I felt a sting. She sounded broken, fragile, human. And yet, it was exactly what I wanted her to feel. She deserved better, the first friend said softly, glancing at the casket. He was kind, honest, and she. Shoo, Lena whispered sharply, covering her mouth with her hand. Tears ran freely down her cheeks, and she sank to the ground, sobbing into her friend's shoulder. I couldn't move. I just watched, hidden, my mind spinning. Part of me wanted to rush forward, grab her, scream at her, make her truly understand what she had done. But another part, a quieter, colder part, told me to wait. To watch. To let her suffer silently, just as I had. She really loved you, Lena, one friend murmured, her voice soft, trembling. But you broke it. Lena shook her head violently, tears dripping onto the damp grass. I didn't know. I didn't think. I thought I could. I thought. You thought too much, the other friend said, wrapping an arm around her. He's gone. Nothing changes that now. I felt my jaw tighten. Their words cut, not like anger, but like truth. They were right. She had destroyed what we had, and now the world believed I was gone. And I had to sit here and watch her unravel. Yet as the service began, I noticed subtle shifts. Colleagues whispering, friends exchanging glances. My absence was more than a shock, it was a void. My influence, my presence, my life, it mattered. And it hurt to see how deeply I had been woven into everyone's lives, only for her betrayal to tear it apart. The priest spoke, and I heard my own imagined voice in his words, we mourn the loss of a man who touched our lives with kindness and integrity. Though he is gone from our sight, he will live forever in our hearts. I felt a hollow pang. My heart ached, a mixture of satisfaction, sorrow, and curiosity. Satisfaction that Lena felt the weight of her actions. Sorrow for the life I had left behind, even temporarily. Curiosity about what would happen next, how the pieces would shift now that I had disappeared. I remained behind the oak, rain soaking me, hidden, invisible. Lena wept openly, her friend supporting her, whispers of regret and confession filling the air. And I realized, quietly, in the deepest part of myself, that this was only the beginning. Observing from the shadows gave me a clarity I hadn't expected. Her pain, her regret, it was satisfying, yes. But it was also instructive. One day, I thought, I would step out of these shadows. One day, she would see the full picture. But for now, I would watch, silently, hidden, waiting. I sat in the small cafe, laptop open, coffee cooling beside me, watching the rain blur the city streets. My new identity, Michael Reeves, felt strange, like wearing someone else's skin, but necessary. Are you sure you want to do this? Nina asked, glancing at me across the table. Her brown eyes were sharp but kind, the kind of look that seemed to see through pretense. I don't have a choice, I replied, typing a quick email. I need to rebuild, and be invisible while I do it. She leaned back, stirring her tea. Invisible doesn't suit you. You're too forceful for that. Even pretending to be Michael, people notice you. I smirked faintly. That's because I learned to observe before acting. No mistakes this time. Nina's lips curved into a half smile. Observation is good. But you're too tense. I've known you 3 days? And you already act like a war general. I laughed softly, the sound foreign in this calm, quiet room. Maybe that's what heartbreak does. Turns you into a strategist. Or maybe it just makes you bitter, she teased lightly, then added, more seriously, look, Michael, you can't let her define you anymore. You have to build your own life, your own success. I paused, letting her words sink in. She didn't know my past fully, but she knew enough to see the edge in me. You're right. I've been living in shadows, watching her regret. But now I have to create something worth watching back. She nodded, smiling. Exactly. And I can help. Later that week, I met with a potential business partner in a sleek office building. Nina had set up the meeting, her confidence lending me credibility. Michael Reeves, the partner said, shaking my hand firmly. I hear you've got some innovative ideas. I'm curious. Thank you, I said smoothly. I've been focusing on strategies that minimize risk while maximizing growth. I've seen where traditional approaches fail, and I can help avoid that. He raised an eyebrow. Interesting. You speak like someone who's survived more than the average entrepreneur. I let the comment hang, smiling faintly. Experience teaches lessons money can't buy. He nodded slowly. I like your approach. Let's see if we can make this work. As he left, Nina whispered, see? People respond to confidence, and the hint of a story behind it. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. I have a story, they just don't know it yet. Back in my apartment that evening, I stared out at the city skyline. Lena's image flickered in my mind unbidden. I had checked, carefully, her social media, her friends' posts. She was grieving, yes, but life was moving on for her too. I whispered to myself, I'm building something better, Lena. Something you'll never touch. Nina texted, dinner? Talk strategy. I smiled, typing back, sure. 7 p.m. When I arrived at the small bistro, she was already there, reviewing documents. She glanced up and smiled, and I felt a spark of something I hadn't felt in months, hope. You look different, she said, sliding a folder toward me. Sharper. More focused. I'm learning, I replied, opening the folder. Rebuilding requires clarity. And alliances. Good, she said. Because what we're doing here, it could change everything. You just have to trust the process. I studied her, realizing how much her presence grounded me. I'm beginning to. Slowly. But I've been burned before. I won't let it happen again. Nina leaned forward, eyes serious. You won't. That's why you're here, not just for the business, but for you. You're reclaiming control, your life, your path, your choices. I nodded. Control, that's what I need. And maybe, eventually, peace. The days blurred into weeks. Meetings, emails, networking events. I stayed in the background at first, letting Nina guide introductions, letting the world forget Alex Carter. Each small victory, each handshake, each successful proposal, felt like a brick in the foundation of Michael Reeves, my new life. At night, I still thought of Lena sometimes, but the pangs of revenge softened into curiosity. What would she do if she knew I was alive? If she saw me thriving, unbroken? I shook my head, focusing on the present. That's not important now, I whispered to myself. The important part is this, me. Rebuilding. Becoming more than I was. Nina appeared behind me, startling me slightly. You're overthinking again. Come on, dinner before the cafe closes. I laughed, standing. Lead the way. She smiled, linking her arm with mine as we walked. One step at a time, Michael. One step at a time. I let her words sink in, feeling the first genuine lift of weight from my shoulders in months. The shadows of the past still lingered, but for the first time, I saw a path forward. A life rebuilt, a self restored. And though Lena existed somewhere out there, she no longer held power over me. For the first time since the crash, I felt alive. I was walking through the bustling downtown street, hood drawn low, sunglasses shielding my face. The world was busy, indifferent, perfect for someone trying to remain unseen. "Nina, are you sure this cafe is safe?" "I don't want any surprises," I said quietly as we entered the warm interior, a little bell chiming above the door. "It's safe," she replied, scanning the room with her usual sharpness. "But you'll see her. She comes here sometimes. If you're ready." My stomach tightened. Ready or not, I have to know. We found a corner table. I sipped my coffee, pretending to check emails, while Nina's eyes tracked the door. Moments later, she nudged me. "There. That's her." My breath caught. Lena sat alone, hair tucked behind her ears, eyes red from crying, staring at a laptop. She was smaller somehow, fragile. The sight hit me with a wave I didn't expect. Pain, anger, longing, all jumbled together. "Do you want me to leave?" Nina whispered. "No," I said firmly. "I need to hear her, to see her." I adjusted my scarf, approached cautiously, voice low and calm. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Lena looked up, startled, almost trembling. No. "Please, sit." I slid into the chair opposite her, careful to mask my identity, letting her assume I was a stranger. "Busy day?" I asked casually. She shook her head. "No, just trying to finish some work." Her hands fidgeted with the pen on her desk. I guess I'm avoiding life." "You look tired," I said gently. "Something wrong?" She looked at me for a long moment, eyes narrowing slightly, confused. "Just tired. Everyone's been different since," her voice faltered. "Since everything happened." I leaned back, letting the pause stretch, watching her unravel in subtle ways. "Everything happens. People make mistakes." She flinched slightly at the words, as if sensing something familiar in the tone. "Yeah, mistakes," she whispered. Her eyes drifted downward. "I made a lot." "You did what you thought you had to," I said softly, carefully neutral. "But some choices have consequences." Her gaze snapped up. You don't know me." Her voice wavered, fragile yet defensive. "I didn't mean. I never wanted to hurt anyone." "I know," I murmured, letting her guilt hang. "Sometimes knowing isn't enough." She leaned forward, elbows on the table, voice low. I still think about it. Every day. I don't think I can forgive myself." "Forgiveness isn't always the point," I said. "Sometimes it's just learning." Her hands trembled over her cup, and I felt the thrill of control. I could stay here, unseen, shaping this interaction, seeing her raw, vulnerable self. My pulse quickened, but a part of me hesitated. Was this satisfaction, or cruelty? "You've changed," she said suddenly, looking straight at me, though she didn't recognize me. "There's something about you. Stronger. Wiser." I wish I could be that." "You can be," I replied softly. "But only if you're honest. With yourself." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I am. I'm trying. God, I wish I could make it right." I let a small, knowing smile touch my lips. Some things can't be made right. They can only be understood. She looked down again, fingers tapping nervously. I never realized how much I lost. Loss is the price of mistakes, I said. And sometimes, the lesson. She glanced up suddenly, scanning the cafe as if expecting someone to appear. I shouldn't talk to strangers about this, she whispered. It feels wrong. Sometimes the right thing feels wrong at first, I said gently. You're allowed to feel. Allowed to learn. Her voice broke. I don't know if I deserve that. I don't deserve forgiveness. You don't have to deserve it, I said quietly, leaning back. It exists anyway. For yourself, not anyone else. She swallowed, nodding slowly. Maybe someday. I watched her closely, every subtle movement, every tremor of guilt and sorrow. I realized the power shift was happening, not through force, but through patience, observation, and restraint. She was beginning to see, to feel, to understand her own place in this story, and I held the quiet advantage. Nina tapped my shoulder lightly. Time to go, she whispered. I nodded, rising, giving Lena a small, polite smile. Take care of yourself, I said softly. Lena looked up, startled by the warmth in my tone, something she couldn't quite place. You too, her voice trailed off, a mixture of confusion, guilt, and longing lingering. Outside, Nina fell into step beside me. You have her thinking. You have her feeling. That was perfect. I know, I said, letting a faint smirk cross my face. And she doesn't even know who I am. You're dangerous, Nina said, shaking her head, smiling. But, maybe that's what she needs. I looked back through the cafe window, catching one last glimpse of Lena hunched over her work. Vulnerable, remorseful, unaware. And I was no longer the broken man she thought she had destroyed. For the first time, I felt the thrill of control, tempered with caution, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing the game had just begun. I watched her from across the room, heart steady, face calm, though my pulse thrummed with anticipation. She didn't see me at first, immersed in her work, scribbling notes with that familiar furrowed brow. Lena, I said softly, stepping into view, letting my voice carry just enough. Her pen froze. She looked up. Her eyes widened. I let the pause stretch. You thought I was gone, I said, voice calm, deliberate. Her hand trembled. She backed up slightly, staring at me as if the air had become thin. And no, this can't be. You're alive. Yes, Lena, I replied, taking a step closer. Alive, and watching. Her breaths came fast, shallow. I don't understand. I saw the funeral, the flowers. I saw your grief, I said gently, letting the words sink in. Saw you cry, saw your guilt. Every tear you shed. I noticed. She shook her head, fingers clutching at the edge of the table. I didn't mean. I never. You didn't mean to betray me, I said, voice calm but cold. But you did. And the consequences, they were yours to feel. Her knees buckled slightly, and she sank into the chair, burying her face in her hands. I'm sorry. I never wanted this. I thought you were gone forever. I leaned against the desk, folding my arms. You thought wrong. And now you see how fragile trust really is. Tears leaked between her fingers. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know what to do. You don't fix everything, I said softly. Some things, you live with. You learn. You change. You feel the weight of your actions. Her voice cracked. I regret everything. I wish I could turn back time. Regret is meaningless without reflection, I said, letting a small, controlled smile touch my lips. And reflection without action, is just despair. She looked up at me then, eyes red, searching mine desperately. I didn't know you'd survive. I never expected. Expected? I asked, tilting my head. You never expected accountability, did you? Her lips quivered. I thought, you were gone, forever. I thought I'd never have to face the truth. You faced it anyway, I said. In your own way. But the truth is here now. And I am here. Watching. Observing. Learning what you're made of. Her voice barely whispered, trembling, I'm scared. I never thought I could feel this panic. Panic is natural, I said gently. It's what comes when illusions shatter, when pride meets consequence. You're experiencing justice, without me raising a hand. She buried her face again, shaking. I don't deserve anything good. I leaned closer, lowering my voice, almost a whisper. Deserve doesn't matter, Lena. What matters is understanding, and accountability, and learning what it truly means to hurt someone you claim to love. Her breath hitched. Please. I can't. Please what? I asked softly. Beg? Explain? Rationalize? None of it changes what's been done. Tears streamed freely now, her face pale. I love you. I always loved you. I straightened, letting the moment hang. Love without trust is meaningless. Actions speak louder than words, Lena. You'll have to live with what your choices created. Her gaze locked on me, desperate, pleading. I'm sorry. I never. Please, don't hate me. I don't hate you, I said quietly. I pity you. I understand your fear, your weakness. And I've chosen clarity over vengeance. I'm not here to destroy you. I'm here to let you see yourself clearly, finally. She shook, words failing her. Her silence spoke volumes. I turned slowly, glancing back once more. Remember this moment, Lena. Remember it well. This is the day illusions ended, and reality began. I walked away, leaving her trembling in the space between despair and clarity, guilt heavy on her shoulders. And for the first time in months, I felt calm. Collected. In control. I had survived. I had reclaimed myself. And Lena. Lena had finally begun to see. I walked into the room with a calm that felt almost foreign to me. The murmurs of the crowd softened as people noticed me, curiosity lighting their faces. Lena's eyes widened the moment she saw me. She froze mid-sentence, her excuse dying on her lips. Lena, I said, letting my voice cut through the whispers like a knife. We need to talk. She swallowed hard, her hands trembling. I didn't expect. I thought. You thought I was gone, I interrupted gently. You thought this room would be free of me. That you could manipulate, charm, and rationalize your way past accountability. I can explain, she stammered, stepping closer, her eyes pleading. I never wanted to hurt you. Please. You never wanted to hurt me? I echoed, voice calm but sharp. Then why did you? She flinched, tears forming. I was scared. I panicked. I thought losing you would destroy me. And yet here I am, I said softly, letting the words sink in. Alive. Watching. Observing every lie, every excuse. Her knees weakened slightly, and she steadied herself on the edge of the table. Please, don't make this harder. I love you. I always loved you. Can't you see that? I folded my arms, pacing slowly around her. Love without trust is nothing, Lena. You don't get to demand forgiveness because your heart says so. Actions define love, not words. Her voice cracked. Please, I never thought you'd survive the accident. I thought I'd have forever to fix things. You thought wrong, I said. I've spent months watching, learning. I've rebuilt myself while you wallowed in guilt and fear. And now, you face the consequences of your choices. Her hands covered her face, shaking. I can't live with this. I don't know how to fix it. You can't fix it, I said softly, taking a step closer, letting my calmness feel like a weight pressing down. Some actions are irreversible. Some betrayals leave permanent marks. Her trembling intensified. I thought I loved you. I thought it was enough. I shook my head. It's never enough when it's built on lies. Do you understand that now? I do, she whispered. I see it. I see everything. I was selfish. I hurt you. Please, don't hate me. I don't hate you, I said, my voice quiet, but firm. Hate is easy. Pity is harder. I pity your weakness, your fear. And I pity the illusions you've built around yourself. Her eyes welled up, searching mine desperately. Then, what will you do? Will you leave me? Will you forgive me? I don't deserve anything. You're right. You don't, I said, letting the words linger. And I don't owe you forgiveness. What you deserve isn't mine to give, it's life's to unfold. You'll live with the knowledge of your actions. That is your lesson. Her lips trembled. Please. Stop, I said, raising a hand. Stop pleading. Stop rationalizing. Stop trying to control what you've already broken. Your panic, your tears, they're natural. That's the consequence you wanted to avoid. But it's here, now. And it's final. She sank into a chair, shoulders shaking, her voice barely a whisper. I thought I could charm my way through. I didn't know you'd come back. I came back, I said, to see clearly. To reclaim myself. To let you see yourself clearly. Nothing more. Nothing less. A few of our friends and colleagues had gathered nearby, their expressions a mixture of shock and sympathy. I noticed the way they watched her unravel, and it added weight to the moment. The social stakes amplified the tension, and I felt a strange satisfaction, tempered with compassion. I'm sorry, Lena whispered, covering her face again. I don't know what to do. You've done enough, I said, taking a deliberate step back. Now, you will live with the consequences of your choices. And I will live with the strength I've reclaimed. Her gaze lifted slightly, desperation in her eyes. But, can you forgive me? I paused, letting the question hang. Forgiveness was tempting, but it wasn't mine to grant lightly. I thought of the months of planning, the pain, the grief, and the patience it took to reach this point. Forgiveness is not a gift. It's a recognition of growth. Perhaps one day, but not today. Today is for clarity, Lena. Today is for reality. Her tears flowed freely now, helpless and raw. The weight of truth pressed down on her shoulders, and I knew the lesson had been delivered. She understood, finally, that actions bore consequences beyond her control. I straightened, voice calm, letting the tension resolve naturally. Remember this moment, I said softly. It's the day illusions ended, and reality began. And I have reclaimed my life, my dignity, and my peace. She didn't speak again. She only trembled, eyes fixed on me, as the room absorbed the gravity of the confrontation. I turned, walking away with deliberate steps, heart steady. This was the final act. Lena had faced the truth, and I had found my power, not in revenge, but in clarity, patience, and moral certainty. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I breathed freely. I sat at the cafe, watching people pass by, feeling the calm settle around me like a soft cloak. It was strange to be free of the chaos, the lies, and the suffocating tension that had defined my life for so long. Nina slid into the chair across from me, her eyes warm. "You look lighter," she said, a small smile tugging at her lips. I laughed softly, a sound I hadn't realized I missed. "I guess I am. Strange, isn't it? How much weight I carried without even knowing it." She nodded. "You've changed. I can see it in the way you hold yourself, calm, in control. But there's still that shadow in your eyes." "Awareness," I said, swirling my coffee. "Not shadow. I remember everything, but it doesn't haunt me the way it used to. Lena, what she did, the betrayal, it's part of the past now. I learned from it." Nina's expression softened. "You're wiser. Stronger. You've rebuilt without bitterness taking over. That's rare." I shrugged, letting my fingers trace the rim of my cup. I almost lost myself chasing revenge. Almost. But somewhere along the way, I realized that true power isn't in hurting her, it's in reclaiming myself. Every choice, every step forward, was mine. A waiter walked by, and I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the window. I barely recognized the person staring back, calm, confident, a man who no longer trembled at shadows. Sam's voice came unexpectedly from behind me. "Looking good, huh?" I turned to see him leaning against the doorway, grin wide. "Sam. Didn't expect to see you here." He shrugged, walking over. "Heard about your return. Thought I'd check in. You're handling this well?" I smiled faintly. "Better than well. I finally understand what it means to survive myself, not just events around me. I've learned who I am when stripped of illusions." He chuckled. "That's something. And you're doing it without destroying anyone else. That's the part that impresses me most." "I suppose," I admitted. "It wasn't easy. Watching her grief, seeing Lena break under her own guilt. I felt the temptation to gloat. But I didn't. Satisfaction came from knowing I could rise above it. Justice doesn't have to be cruel." Sam leaned back, arms crossed. "You've always been thoughtful, but this is next level. I mean, faked death, observing, rebuilding, most people wouldn't survive the aftermath. Let alone grow from it." I sipped my coffee, thinking of Lena's face, her panic, her regret. She's a cautionary tale now. A reminder of what envy and fear can do. But my story is about resilience. About turning pain into power without losing humanity. Nina reached over, lightly touching my hand. "And you did it. You're living proof that even the deepest wounds can teach, rather than destroy. I'm proud of you." I let the warmth of her hand settle in my mind. "Thanks, Nina. I needed someone to remind me of that. Someone who believes in the future, not just the past." A couple of familiar colleagues passed by, glancing at me curiously. Julia, who had noticed the change in me months ago, smiled faintly. "You've come a long way," she said softly as she walked past. I nodded, barely able to put into words how much it meant. Recognition from those who'd seen me at my weakest was quietly satisfying. "It feels right," I muttered to myself, almost aloud. "Like I'm finally where I should be." Sam's voice broke through my thoughts. "So, what's next for you? Now that the past is settled, literally and figuratively." I leaned back, letting the sun warm my face. "I rebuild. I grow. I live. I don't need closure from her anymore. I have it within me. And maybe, someone new, someone worthy of trust, will enter my life when the time is right. Nina smiled knowingly. That sounds like a plan. And a good one. I nodded, feeling the final weight lift off my chest. The betrayal, the faked death, the confrontation, they were all chapters of a story that had ended, but they had taught me more than any happy beginning ever could. I was no longer a victim, no longer trapped by my own naivety. I had emerged whole, scarred but stronger. I took a deep breath, letting the city sounds fill my senses. Life was fragile, unpredictable, and beautiful. And I, at last, was ready to live it fully. I stepped into the bright morning, the city buzzing around me, and felt a strange sense of lightness. For the first time in years, the weight of anger, betrayal, and fear didn't press on my chest. I breathed deeply, letting the crisp air remind me that life was moving forward, and so would I. Nina appeared beside me, as if reading my thoughts. "You look different today," she said, a teasing smile on her lips. "I feel different," I admitted, smiling back. "It's a strange kind of freedom, isn't it?" She laughed softly. "Freedom, huh? You've earned it. No shadows chasing you, no past holding your hand back." I nodded. "Exactly. I've learned that revenge, grief, anger, they're temporary. Real strength comes from building something new, something that belongs to me. Not tied to anyone else's mistakes." Nina's eyes gleamed with curiosity. "So, what's the plan now?" I shrugged, feeling a thrill at the thought of choice. "I'm going to grow my company, expand my reach. And I'm going to do it without letting fear or past pain dictate my moves. For the first time, every decision is mine." Her smile softened. "And what about life outside work?" I met her gaze, feeling the quiet tension between us, the unspoken possibilities. "I'm learning to trust myself again. To open up, but cautiously. I want someone who sees me fully, not the man I pretended to be, not the one shaped by betrayal, but the real me. Someone willing to take that journey with me." She chuckled. "Careful, or I might think you're hinting at me." I raised an eyebrow, feigning innocence. "Are you accusing me of something?" "Maybe I am," she teased, leaning closer. "Maybe I've noticed the way you've grown, and maybe I'm curious how far this new beginning goes." I laughed, feeling warmth spread through me. Curiosity is good. It keeps life interesting. Our conversation drifted naturally, touching on plans, ambitions, and possibilities. Every word was infused with hope rather than fear, excitement rather than hesitation. It was strange and wonderful to feel this way after months of darkness and deception. A passerby recognized me from a professional event months ago and waved. "Hey! Congratulations on the new venture. Heard you've been unstoppable." I nodded politely, smiling. "Thank you. It's been a journey." Nina glanced at me, her expression curious. "Unstoppable, huh?" "Unstoppable," I repeated, letting the word sink in. "But it's not arrogance. It's understanding that setbacks, betrayal, and pain are just steps along the path. They don't define me, they teach me." She reached out, brushing a stray lock of hair from my face. "I like the way you see the world now. Balanced. Thoughtful. Strong." I felt a flutter of gratitude and something else, hope, maybe even anticipation. "Thank you, Nina. You've been part of this journey in ways you might not even realize. I trust you. And I want this to continue, whatever shape it takes." She smiled, eyes sparkling. "Then we'll see where it goes. No pressure, just possibilities." I took a deep breath, savoring the moment. Possibilities felt different now. They weren't tied to fear or pain. They weren't weighed down by past mistakes. They were open, inviting, and entirely mine to shape. "Do you ever think about the past?" she asked quietly. I paused, letting my mind brush against the memory of betrayal, fake death, confrontation, and triumph. "I think about it enough to learn," I said finally. "But not enough to hold me back. The past is a lesson, not a prison. And I choose to live free." She nodded, understanding. "Then here's to new beginnings." I lifted my coffee cup, smiling warmly. To new beginnings. As we walked side by side, I felt the weight of my old life lifting completely. Betrayal, heartbreak, and despair had been chapters, each teaching me, each shaping me. Now, I was ready to write the next chapter, one filled with trust, love, growth, and choices made without fear. The sun glinted off the buildings ahead, and I realized I was smiling freely for the first time in what felt like forever. The city was alive, and so was I. Life had given me a second chance, and this time, I would live it fully, wisely, bravely, and unapologetically.